Police in Nebraska stopped a man on suspicion of drunk driving. Now, while they were searching his vehicle, they came across a container that said something in very, very clear writing. It said, quote, "not weed." So the police officers thought, all right, well, if it's not weed, we're just going to put it away and move on. That's not how it works. Of course, they opened the container and it contained weed. All right. So this is in Lancaster County, Nebraska. The man did get arrested on suspicion of drunk driving and for simple possession of marijuana, although in that case, it's just a misdemeanor. So he's getting a citation for that. But what amazes me about this story is how dumb can criminals be? I mean, was he trying to use some reverse psychology? Like, no, 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 this is not weed. I mean, it's just so unbelievably, unbearably stupid. And I really have no other point to make about this, but I want to know if you guys have a point. So Benjamin, make your point. Yeah,
I mean, he's an idiot. I mean, when I first read this, I thought that maybe, I didn't realize it was in his car. I thought it was maybe in his house. And thought, well, if you have, you know, a sour cream pot in your fridge, I was like, well, that's kind of halfway decent to hiding it. But I mean, obviously it's quite cliche to put stuff in your fridge. They're going to look there anyway. But it was in his car, in a sour cream pot, in a car that's warm. I mean, that's not incognito at all. I mean, the fact that he put not weed in it, I think it was a joke. I don't even think he meant to even hide it in a certain way. It's like having a tin with a marijuana leaf. I think it was just another version of that. It's like, oh, this is my cool weed box. But if I get caught, I'm caught full on. There's nothing you can do about it. I don't think he even thought that this would be reverse psychology and, oh, they might not look in it. I think it was just like, ha, not weed.
Probably not that deep. I mean, he had the right idea when he put it in the sour cream container. He should have just left it at that, because they probably would not have looked at the sour cream container, right? But sometimes the universe wants to teach you lessons, and he really needed to learn one, so maybe he learned something from that, hopefully.
Here's my advice, right? Marijuana is the type of drug that is very stinky if you have the right quality, right? So if you want to mask the scent, or if you want to hide the scent of marijuana while you have it in your vehicle, you probably shouldn't put it in a sour cream container. Like, there are these airtight jars that you can buy at like head shops and stuff. And anyway, I'm just giving you some advice. But you should not smoke and drive. I know some people disagree about that. You should not be high on marijuana when you're driving. People think that you drive a little more carefully when you're high. Maybe that is the case, but for some people, it isn't the case. So don't smoke and drive. Don't drink and drive. You're not only endangering your life, you're endangering the lives of other people. That's just my serious PSA portion of this story. Now let's get to the personal question. So what is the dumbest way you got yourself in trouble? And it could be with law enforcement. It could be with a significant other. It could be with a family member. I'm very curious to know. Mela, let me start with you.
Okay. So when I was 16, I was an accessory to shoplifting.
We have a lot of shoplifters on this show, by the way.
Okay, well, happy to be part of that.
When I hear accessory, I immediately think murder. So I was like,
yeah, I know, right. It sounds way crazier than it is. So a really good friend of mine at the time stole a $20 tube top from Macy's. And I didn't stop her. I went into the fitting room with her. She put in hers, remember the zip-up binders that we had? She put in the zip-up binder. We are walking out of Macy's, and I thought, oh my God, okay, maybe we did actually get away with it. But sure enough, someone calls out, ladies, ladies, and we just knew we were caught in that moment. My mom had to pick me up, which was the worst part. It was like the worst thing I had done up until that point. I was 15 or 16 years old, and I think I was charged with maybe $50, which actually wasn't that bad, and she was charged with, charged $500.
Wow.
Ever since then, I would never steal a pack of gum. Like, first of all, when you're 15 or 16, you can get away with it because it goes away when you're 18, I think. But as an adult, it's just the most embarrassing crime. You know what I mean? Because it's so petty.
You know what's also embarrassing? When you haven't stolen anything, but you walk through the door and the sensor goes off because the cashier forgot to take off the sensor from the clothing or whatever. And you're like, no, I'm innocent. I'm innocent. I didn't steal anything.
I'm not that person.
I'm more worried about the ridicule than anything else. Anyway, Benjamin, what about you?
Well, speaking of drink driving, I unfortunately had a DUI from 9 years ago. And up until this point, I had never drink driven. I had never drunk driven since. And it was literally just a stupid mistake. I was absolutely hammered. So it wasn't even like I was even partly aware of what I was doing. I was 18, which 18 you can legally drink in England. So 21 and younger. This is why it's really stupid, is because I moved at about 150 yards. Which isn't.
I'm an idiot, so I don't know what that means. How fast is that miles per hour?
Oh no, it was like 5 miles per hour, but I moved it physically.
Oh, how far you were driving?
150 yards.
I see. Okay, that makes sense.
So you know, and that's the thing. In my drunken state, I would never have drink driven anyway, but because I was in my drunken state, I thought, basically, we got back to my friend's house. We took a train in, taxi back, all planned, got back, and he was like, "Mate, where'd you park?" And I was like, I just parked at the train station. He's like, "You should probably move your car because you'll get a ticket in the morning." And I was like, "Oh yeah, shit, I probably should." So we're walking to the train station, which is right next to his house, and police literally pull up, because this is 5 a.m. now, and there's no one on the streets, and they pull up, and they're like, "Are you guys all right?" Because we're the only people on the streets kind of like stumbling down. And I said to them, yeah, I'm just gonna move my car because I parked in the train station. And they were like, okay. And they drove away, watched me move it, and then afterwards were like,
Oh no! So you like fell for that trap, dude.
I know, it was so terrible, and it's affected me. And I've been the biggest advocate of never ever drinking and driving. And I had friends who even did it after that and then got done. And I was like, use me as an example, because also it affected my life. It still affects my life to this day.
Of course.
It stopped me coming to America for about 2 years.
That's amazing.
So it was huge, and all from just this one thing.
Yeah, I mean, in the United States, if you get caught drunk driving with lawyer fees, with the ticket that comes along with it, you can spend as much as $10,000 trying to get over the drunk driving charge. Well, I haven't gotten into too much trouble with authorities. I would say that my biggest flaw is my driving, and so I've broken a bunch of driving laws and gotten caught for it. I remember there was like a divider on a street where, it was like a physical divider, like a tangible divider, not just like lines on the street. Right. So you wouldn't make a left turn out of a driveway. And I didn't care. I went over it to make a left turn, and I got caught once and I got a ticket. But that's like the tamest thing. I think that the most trouble I've ever gotten into was definitely my parents when I was a teenager. I've told the story again, but for those of you who don't know, there was like a period in my life where I was sneaking out all the time. But I was like the studious girl. I did all my work, but at night I wanted to like be the bad girl and have a little fun, right? Yeah. And so one night, it was way too early for me to sneak out. I got real cocky, right? And so I get out from my window in my bedroom, and then I want to close my bedroom window because it's freezing. It's the middle of the winter time, and I don't want my room to get cold. So I'm like slowly closing the window and coughing at the same time, so my mom won't hear the window closing. Like she won't wonder why it was open in the first place. And then my mom's like, "Who's coughing outside?" Right? So then she goes into my room and realizes that I'm gone, and then I get into a lot of trouble.
Did you put stuff under your duvet?
Yes. I love that you said duvet.
So funny.
Yes, I did. And she was like, "Oh, he thought you were real clever putting your pillow under your duvet." But anyway, that's how I got caught. We do want to hear from you guys, though. What is the dumbest thing you've ever done and the dumbest way you've ever gotten caught? Comment in the section below. We love hearing from you guys, and we'll see you soon.